Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. Seb here, and today we're going to be talking about the oldest documented vegan who openly opposed and talked about animal rights in its purest form. Now, for a lot of you, when you hear the word vegan, you think about when veganism started, you only think about something very recent. You think about the person who coined the term veganism. You think about Donald Watson and others. However, there is one person that has unfortunately gone completely ignored, who I believe is very, very important for our movement, given the amount of work he has done and the way that he has expressed himself about animal rights and veganism. That person is Abu Ala al-Ma'arri, a Syrian poet and philosopher who was born in the year 973. Make sure to stay until the end of the video, where I'm going to play an amazing poem written by al-Ma'arri about veganism, the oldest poem I could ever find and the oldest documented vegan we could ever find in history. So for those of you who don't know much about Abu Ala al-Ma'arri, he was born in December 973 in the town of Ma'arrat in Syria. Despite holding a controversially irreligious worldview and all of his stances and all of his beliefs, he is regarded as one of the greatest classical Arabic poets. At the age of 4, he unfortunately lost sight and he became blind due to smallpox. He studied near the city of Aleppo, and around the age of 4, he lost his eyesight due to smallpox. After that, however, this disability made him concentrate on something else, which was his memory. He was completely able to study everything using only his memory, and that's why around the age of 11 he already became a poet. He was a very strict rationalist who valued reason over tradition or revelation, and he also very strongly believed that human beings should be guided by reason. Now, a few years after starting to write poems, he actually went to Baghdad. Now, at the time, Baghdad was not what it is today. It was actually a city filled with poets and philosophers and scientists from all around the world, from different backgrounds, different religions, who used to discuss things and share ideas and philosophies. However, he did refuse to sell his texts. He was not interested in the money, and for that reason, he also decided to go back home in the year 1010 after he heard that his mother was getting sick. Now, unfortunately, when he arrived home, he found out that his mother had already passed away, after which he decided to live a more secluded and ascetic life. However, he was already getting famous, so a lot of people would still come to him for lectures, and at one point, it is said that he had almost 300 students who would come to him to learn more. At this time, he was already so skilled that he would compose all his poems in his head and would dictate to someone else to write it down. Al-Ma'arri believed in the sanctity of life, urging that no living creature should be harmed, and for that exact reason, at the age of 30, he became a vegan, opposing eating or exploiting animals or any type of violence towards other animals. He was against using any type of animal products, he was against wearing animal skin, and he himself wore wooden shoes as opposed to leather shoes at the time. He described what we call today as carnism, as in non-veganism, a disease of mind and faith. More than 1,000 years ago, Al-Ma'arri was also an anti-natalist, suggesting that children should not be born to spare them the pain and suffering of life, and for that reason, when they buried him, on his tombstone it said, "This crime was by my father done to me, but never by me to one." Now, in the year 2013, when Islamist groups who were fighting in the civil war in Syria entered his town, they went straight to where his statue was and destroyed it, not only for his beliefs about life and everything, but also for his anti-religious beliefs. He died in the year 1058. Now, I did some research to see how old usually people lived back in those days, because I wanted to see if whether or not him eating a vegan diet ever affected his health, because based on what we can find, on what he shared about his diet, he ate mostly lentils and other obviously vegan foods, but also really enjoyed figs as sweets. And when I looked into it, I found out that back in those days, the average lifespan of scholars was between 59 and 84.3 years in the Middle East. And our good old friend definitely lived more than 84 years old. Unfortunately, the reason why Al-Ma'arri's works is not as famous as the work of other scholars or philosophers at the time or even after him is because crusaders completely destroyed the area during the coming centuries. So I found an amazing audio online of the poem that I'm going to share with you that Al-Ma'arri wrote about animal rights and veganism, and here it is.
Do not unjustly eat fish the water has given up, and do not desire as food the flesh of slaughtered animals, or the white milk of mothers who intended its pure draught for their young, not noble ladies. And do not grieve the unsuspecting birds by taking eggs, for injustice is the worst of crimes. And spare the honey which the bees get industriously from the flower of fragrant plants. For they did not store it that it might belong to others, nor did they gather it for bounty and gifts, I wash my hands of all this and wish that I perceived my way before my hair went grey.
I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. This is hands down my favorite poem of all time. I cannot believe how open his mind was, how well spoken he was, and how really easily he explains the injustice that we're doing to other animals. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you wish to support my work, check out my website sebalex.org or ethicsoverhabits.com for vegan, fair trade, and organic merchandise. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about this and tell me who you thought was the oldest documented vegan. I'm really interested to see how many people actually knew about Al-Ma'ari. I've known about him for more than 2 years now, and I've always wanted to make a video about him, and I finally had the time to do it. So I really hope you enjoyed it. Again, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.